Howdy folks, it's a Tall Turtle here. Welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. We are resuming our Balkans bush trip, starting with Leg 8 in this video. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, watch the previous 2 episodes of this series, and let's get right to it. Alright, here we are. We are starting Leg 8, so let's do repair and refuel, although we don't really need to, but we will anyway. And let's read about what we're doing. Kind of a long trip this time, 38 minutes or so. Lima Alpha, Tango Indigo, which, let's look on this map first. How far away is that? Quite a ways, I would assume, right? Tango Indigo. Oh yeah. Tango Indigo, that's what I said, right? Yep. So we'll let the computer do the talking and the walking, just like we've been doing. But for now, we'll just read about what we're going to do. Looks like we just follow the coast for a really long time. Pretty straightforward, I think. Let's zoom that out a little bit. And task gets us to there, and then we keep moving. Okie dokie. So 40 minutes of coastal flying. We shouldn't have to go too high. Yeah, I don't think we need to go anything above $3 grand for this one, which is good, because then, where are we at right now? Dang, we're right here. Yeah, shouldn't have to go above $3 grand. Good. That'll help with sightseeing. It'll look better and be more fun than flying way above everything. Alrighty, so here we go. Let's continue with our storyline. Uvala Jazz from Tivat Airport, which we have been to and explained. A road leads southeast and into the surrounding hills. Head over the dense forest lining the mountain. Follow the road. If you haven't watched the previous video, we're going to let the GPS and autopilot fly for us, so we're just going to kind of get ahead on this. I can just do more sightseeing instead of breaking it every 5 minutes. It shortens things up after editing. But once again, track southeast on the coastline. Make your way past that place island and that place beach, and stretch the rocky shoreline toward another thick forest by steep cliff slide. And again, if you want to follow along, you can pause and write down these areas and then pull up Google Maps, which is what I do as I edit this, and then follow along. It's actually kind of cool to do that, because then you actually know, like, oh, that's where this is, because it's just going to look like a town to us 2,000 feet up, but you can actually say that's where this is and that's where that is. It's pretty cool. Head past a rugged terrain of Black Cape on the coastline. You'll soon find the seaside town of Sutamore. Fly southeast past that place. Down by the shore you'll find another marina. Okay, we'll see a marina. I'll try to get these things in the sightseeing, but as I edit down hours of sightseeing, you don't know exactly what's going to happen in the final video. Road runs southeast, mountainside, another town. I would point this stuff up on the VFR map, but there's all these bays. There's like bay after bay after bay after bay. See this? That might be the marina, though. Perhaps that's the marina. And then that brings us to here. So that's all we'll read for right now. And then we'll either jump in here with more narration or play catch up once we get to what looks like might be a big, huge marina. We'll see what that looks like when we get there. Yeah, it's about halfway through. So I guess let's get in the air here. And yeah, let's just get in the air, parking brake off, and then we will. Whoa, lots of right rudder. What is going on here? We will get in the air, and then we'll see what we're going to do and how we're going to handle it when we get there. It's a long trip. I don't want to leave all the sightseeing in, because that would be a long video, and we would have like 20 parts to each bush trip. But I don't want to cut it too short either. So it's actually very tricky to do all the sightseeing stuff on a VFR flight. All right, step on those brakes to stop the wheels. Flaps coming in. Let's just go this way and hand fly for a moment. What did I say? We're going to fly at 2,000? Is that going to be enough to... I don't know if that's going to be enough, because we're supposed to go right through there, but the computer might take us over the hills. So let's do 3,000 for now. You never know. Do the heading bug things. We're going to do flight director, autopilot, heading bug for now, vertical speed nose up. Let's do 400 feet per minute. We're not in a hurry. And then with heading bug, now we can do nav. That seems to be working better, because when we did just nav, it did something weird. So there's our co-pilot telling us what to do, and yeah, it's going to take us off over here instead of here. Yuck. Let's go back to heading bug for a minute. just so we don't run in those mountains. No, go this way, go this way, go this way. More this way, thank you. And then we'll let it climb, we'll let it do its thing. Let's avoid those mountains. And what is it looking like here? Careful now. If this stays where it should, we shouldn't have any terrain issues. Because I don't want to fly too high in this one. I kind of want to be lower this time instead of 7,000 feet each time. So that's just something I have to manage off camera. So anyway, one more thing to check. Are our people with us? This is later this... What was that? Did you hear that? It got all wonky, weird. That was scary. Let's go out here. There we go. Do we have our flying friends with us? Yeah, Lemon. Yep, it's later the same day, and Lemon Squirrel and Climb caught up to us. Lemon Squirrel must have taken a long break like I did, because they're still with us. Although they went all over the water. They're doing their own thing, which is fine. You know, you don't have to follow the nav log. You can just put your thing in GPS and go direct, which seems to be what Lemon Square has been doing. But if you don't follow the nav log, then you miss the sites and the towns, and, you know, to me that's kind of the point of doing this. So more power to them, whatever they want to do. We did have a cat and mouse game though in the last video. If you want to watch that, that was kind of funny. But we are going to go like this and follow the nav log so we can check out the sites. Let's hop inside because I see a problem with our heading. We run into some more mountains. Anyway, once we get out to this coast, I'm going to switch over to nav on the autopilot. I just wanted to avoid this hill while we climb. See, they think we're off. That's why we're getting that notice. But we're not off. I'm just doing it my own way here a little bit. There we go. A little bit more. There we go. All right, we're going to get to the coast. Then we'll switch to nav together, and then we'll do some sightseeing. A few little mountain communities here, stuck in the hills. That looks pretty cool. Alright, are we ready to do nav? Not quite yet, because I don't want to hit that little peak. We're going to wait till we're literally over the water, because that's what the map shows anyway here. Although we haven't been literally following this line with the computer, with autopilot. It's been a little off. That's why I'm waiting till the water before we engage nav. I'm actually going to see if Lemon Square has a YouTube channel. I doubt it, but if they do, I'll put a link in the description. We'll see. It's always worth a look. Alright, we're over the water, but I'm actually not going to engage nav yet until we cross our path, because otherwise it's going to go way to the right. Well, we have to be more careful now, but it'll go way to the right and then left. So let's just wait for this to cross over in its new direction, which is going to be any second, and then we'll do nav. And there it is. So let's hit nav now and see if it cooperates. It will. Very nice. Very good. And we're coming up on 3 grand as well. So it's going to be a lot of sightseeing for you. It's a long trip, but I just need to manage some systems, mainly the altitude and making sure autopilot stays where it's supposed to. So quite a bit of sightseeing for you. Oh, look at that. Sightseeing for you. Systems management for me, and then I'll come back in with what when we're over what I think is that marina, and then we'll read more of the nav log and stuff like that. So long 20 minutes for me, a couple minutes for you, and I'll see you then. Alright, there's a beautiful river. I love this lone hillside, this lone mountain right there. Look at that. And there's our lake, and there's a marina looking thing. That's not the marina that was in the description. That marina was way behind us. I'll tell you how I know that in a minute. I'm just checking out the wind turbines. Perfect use of renewable energy. And everybody we were flying with is way behind us, so I'm not sure what happened there. But I know where we are. We are Shaw's Lake, which is this. I Googled it in Google Maps on my phone, so it wouldn't corrupt my recording. And it's not called that, though. So you had to do some translation. So that's Shaw's Lake. So across the waters of Shaw's Lake, just beyond its eastern shore, you'll find the wide flow of the Bahana River, which is not what it's called on Google Maps. It has Bahanja Island, though. Bojana Island, which is right there, this triangle thing. But they call the river something else. Follow the river towards the coast, past a fork. Yep, that triangle thing. Opens up to the Adriatic Sea, which is right there. Head a short distance down the coast, you'll soon pass LYTV. I don't know Italian. I assume that's Italian. I don't think it's Greek. I think it's Italian. I'm not sure. A lagoon situated amidst nature reserves at the foot of the mountain peaks. Continuing along the shore, you pass a rocky cliffside and away to the coastal town of Shenzhen and its neighboring lagoon. And then from the lagoon, file southeast inland. You should quickly fly across the waterways. You pick up a road heading your same direction. Follow that farther southeast towards a wider flow of the Mata River. Yeah, I was going to say, we should be turning soon. There we go. So we are, where are we? We are right here, turning this way. There's the triangle tip right there. And then we're going to fly over the sea and then look for this huge river, which is what we just read about. And the road continues south past the river, expanding into a major highway. So we're going to cross, not this river, there's another river way up there. We're going to cross it while we follow a river. And we're going to go to another town and another reservoir. And then that will bring us to the airport. Continue over the reservoir to the village of that. Past various strips of farmland. The river flow will be tracked parallel to your path as you close in on the town arenas in the Tirana International Airport, where you can touch down. Tickle the wheels, right? So that's our description and everything. We're still only about halfway through the flight, so there'll be plenty more sightseeing to be had. We'll keep that the way it is. Looking at this, we're just going to follow this road which crosses the river, opens up to a highway, and we'll land at LATI, which is right there. I'm just looking at runway orientation, but we're too far away. So we're going to follow a river and a road. Of course, the computer's going to do it for us, but anyway, we're right there right now. We have this to do. So I'll try to get the sightseeing to be worthy of things, not just like all right here, none later. I'll try to spread it out. And there's our buddy. There's what's his name, lemonade stand or lemon squeezy. We're about to intersect. Or right now, it looks like. I think. No, that's not possible. That airplane's moving too fast. Is that lemonade stand? Whatever their name was. No. In fact, lemonade stand is gone. So that's just an airplane up there. Probably a real life flight because we don't have a gamer tag. We got some new persons though. Okay, cool. Alright, let's put the drone away and hop inside and check things one more time. Yeah, that airplane is going way too fast. That's a jet. We know where we're going. We know where we're headed. We checked everything out. We read the descriptions. So sightseeing for you, and I'm going to check on my children, and hopefully I'm back in time to land. I'll see you in a little bit. Okie dokie, so a few things here. We are about to cross over that river and that bridge, which we can't see now, so let's hop outside and look at it. Where are you? There you are, right in the middle of your screen. The river and the bridge, and the other highway. And then this little quaint road and this bridge opens up to a major highway, like I said it would. And then right there's our airport. So we're pretty close. I mean, in terms of visual, it looks closer than it is. But we still have quite a ways to go. Sorry for the hiccups. There we're going right there. And hopefully we don't get put into these mountains first, because we're only at like 3,000 feet or so. Let's zoom that in. That's a little too close. Let's go like that. And where are we at? 3,000? We'll stay at 3,000. Is it going to put us right over that? Maybe that's not our airport. Oh, that has to be our airport. Why is it putting us over that? Should we just take over with heading bug? Because I don't want to have to climb. Let's go like this. Let's use heading. I assume that's your airport. Maybe it's not. Maybe there are other airports in the area. We'll see as soon as we get closer, though, for sure. I mean, I see a whole bunch of NDBs. I don't see any other airports around here. So that has to be it. Weird. Let's put that away. And let's bring that in one click. There we go. That has to be it. In fact, let's do a little bit more like this so we have a better approach. Yeah, whatever. Anything to say or see? Not really. I'm just going to manage our descent here in a moment. Looks like if we take this path, we have nothing to worry about. The satellite imagery here does look a lot better, though, than it did before. Probably because of our altitude. I don't know how close that person is, but they are going way faster than we are. So either, I mean, we're firewalled, so I don't know how they can go faster. Maybe they slewed over, or maybe they're speeding up the sim. I don't know how that works, to be honest, if you speed up the sim with multiplayer. Huh. Anyway, there's your river. There's your bridge. And I bet it's kind of interesting down there. There's a community right there in the hillside, right under the left wing. And the sun just stays here for this bush trip all the time. Ooh, look at that big city down there. Yeah, some big buildings down there. Right along the rivers, right along the base of the mountain, so they can leave the open areas for farmland. Very cool. And there's our big highway. Yeah, that's definitely our airport. Definitely our airport. Alrighty, let's get a little bit closer and come in and land together. I love how we can see the flashing lights, not the beacon, but the actual flashing runway lights from long, long away. Like the other side of those two bays, we can see them. I assume that's realistic. I assume that's how that works in real life. I should do some research, but I've had real life pilots talk about any of the major sims and how from the air it looks completely exactly like that. So it must be accurate. All right, let's start coming down. We're a little bit high because I was looking around. You know me. Oh, there's a car driving on the road. There we go. Yeah, we should be quite a bit lower at this point. Right. Throttle's back, but then pitching up to slow down while we also descend. And get ready for those first set of flaps here. Do not use the flaps as brakes, although they will work as brakes. You're not supposed to use them as brakes. We could slip it in so that we could descend quickly without gaining speed, but we're losing speed as it is, so that's fine. We're pretty fast, so we're just going to float this out a little bit. Second set of flaps. Why does this sim doing that? I haven't restarted my computer in a month. Maybe I should. Alright, come down. Wide runway. I can never tell how high we are. So let's just let ground effects take us. There are the ground effects. Come down all on its own. Tease the stall. Tease the stall. Come on. There you go. Yoke back to keep the nose wheel from hitting. And nose wheel down very gently. All by itself. There we go. And step on the brakes and get credit for leg. I think this is leg 8, right? There we go. Whoa, that took almost 10 minutes longer than it's supposed to. Good grief. Next leg, here we go. Alright, we're going from LATI to LANO, November Oscar. Let's see, how long was this flight? 40 minutes. Alrighty, all these are pretty long. The Alaska bush trip too, the new one, they're all like 40 minutes. Whoa. What's going on here? Okay. So we're going to go through the valley, go through some mountains. So let's shoot for like, well, let's shoot for like 7 grand again for altitude. And then we're going to follow this river and we'll start coming down. When we get to here, let's do like 2 grand again. And then follow the coast. That's pretty straightforward. Okie dokie. Let's put that away. Let's come over here and just zoom this out a little bit so we have an idea of our terrain where we're going to get there. We're going to come through here, follow the river down. Easy peasy, squeezing lemons. All right, let's get this set up ahead of time this time. Think ahead. Not negative. We're not going to Louisiana. Let's shoot for 7 grand this time. And pretty much the direction we're going. Oh, let's repair and refuel, although we don't need to quite yet. And that is it. Straightforward. Let's quickly read, I guess. We have a lot of waypoints. So let's read until we get to the river. Let's see. Once in the air, continue following the highway. Outskirts of Tirana, the capital largest city of Republic Albania. You should be in the view of the waters of Lagoon Tirana and beyond to the thick forestry of Grand Park of Tirana. Head for the lake. Okie dokie. As you pass the hillsides covered in trees, look for highway interchange. Here we'll see a river. It'll bend to the northeast, but you should continue going south into the hills. That's this river right here, if you're looking at my right side. So there's the lake. There's the river. As you draw close to the hills, the highway below will disappear into a tunnel. Head over the hilly rise, which will be here. Stay within the descending path of the waters to the Kushal River, run parallel to asphalt, and eventually cross under it near the village of Kozan. So there's going to be a village in here. And I'm looking at this map, by the way, if you don't see my mouse. The map to the right, GPS. Head south, following the river. It'll lead you past a major industrial park near the city of Elbasan into the banks of the wider Shkumbini River. That must be what this is. Adjust your heading and follow the river west. Soon you arrive at a fork. You should take the westernmost branch. Okay, so we're going to come through here, follow it here. Then there's going to be a branch somewhere, and then take the western branch. So POI 5 gets us to here. Continue the westmost branch. Eventually roll past the village of Caniglas on the western banks of the river. That should be right there. And then carry along to the large town of Rojojin. As river begins to narrow, it'll enter a series of switchbacks. Look for the village near one of the most extreme arcs, which must be right in here. Zoomed out too far to see it. Follow the river till you reach the forest near the coastline. Okay, so we are going to do all this with sightseeing. Then once we reach the coastline, we'll come back in, continue with POI 9. So as I said before, we want to have Google Maps up and rewind the tape to see where we're going. You can follow along, but we're going to do sightseeing all the way until there. I'll jump in with narration if something applies. Always, that's how we're going to do this. So let's get going. And what's your altitude? 120 feet. Feels like we're at high altitude or something. Weird. Anyway, your speed is alive. It's trying to take off, but let's not let it quite yet. And now we can pop off because there's only one set of flaps. I think it starts with one set of flaps. No flaps. Oh, okay. Normally it does. Interesting. Alrighty, let's level off to get some speed here. And then we'll start ascending, and we'll use autopilot. Let's do a little bit of hand flying. We haven't done much hand flying on this trip. Alright, let's get heading bug set. Can we start vertical speed before I engage autopilot? I think I can. Yeah, good. Let's do 500. Let's do flight director. Let's do autopilot. Let's do a heading bug. Then we'll do nav, because that seems to work better, although it probably doesn't even matter. It was probably just something I thought I saw. You're going to turn us? I was waiting for it to line up. Now it's going to turn us 800 feet per minute. A little fast on the climb, but that's okay. 7,000 feet, good. That was way smoother than doing autopilot, then clicking everything. So that's very cool. Good, it should follow that. Should climb us to 7 grand at an okay rate. I'll have to adjust this nose up as time goes on. And that is about it, right? We're just going to follow that. Follow this. Alrighty, much sightseeing as I can get in. I will see you over here in the forest unless something interesting pops in before then. I'm just going to maintain some systems and I'll see you in a little bit. right, we are back, and I'm regaining my composure here because in real life it is 7 hours. No, what time is it? Yeah, 7 hours later in real life. I had to attend to something, so I kept the sim paused that whole time. And I noticed we have new friends flying with us, although they just went out of view as soon as I started my narration. But we have new friends with us today. The plane kind of missed its thing, so now we're telling it to catch up. I use the heading bug for... Oh, we have another friend. I don't know what they're doing. Maybe they're paused like I was. I don't know. Anyway, regaining our composure. What are we doing? We're heading towards these forests, if I remember correctly, right? Isn't that what we're doing right now? We're right here. Yeah, we're heading towards these forests, like over here somewhere, and then flying down to LANO, right? Yeah, so that's what we're doing. We're right there. So let's hide that before we screw it up. And let's keep reading about the forest. So fly over the forest, fly south over the forest, making your way to the jagged shoreline. So that's going to be right here off camera, or off map. I guess I can zoom this out and you can see it there. So there's the forest. We're going to fly along the forest, head down the western shore of the lake. Hang on a second. What lake? Oh, that lake right there, probably. Yeah, 1 minute. Yeah, that's probably the lake right there. Let's hide this. And you reach the southern edge of the lake, and then continue west towards the coast. Oh, no, 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 no. We are beyond this. We are over the forest now, maybe. Okay. Then there'll be a lake somewhere. And then we're going to fly to the coast. Track south along the shore. That's what we're going to do. Okay. And why is the plane shaking? Farther south, look for another river. And then even farther south, you'll find another river. Which, again, you can have Google Maps up if you want to keep watching the river. And then what? And then from the banks of the Lumivose, adjust and head southeast on the northern edge of the nature preserve and Laguana something. You'll find a runway where you can land. Aeroporto di Mofeti. Is this Italian? Or is it something else? I don't know why I don't know that. I should. I feel badly to anybody watching from the area that I don't know what language this is. Yikes, I better do some research. By the time you watch this, I will know, because you're watching this a month after I recorded it. So I already know, but any insight, go ahead and leave it in the comments. I appreciate it. Alright, so we're going to go over some forests, over a lake, and then along the coast for a long time. That's the summary. I think we can start coming down now. I don't see any issues. Yeah, that's the next leg. For this leg, I don't see any altitude issues whatsoever. So let's start coming down at 2,000 feet, maybe 2,500. I keep going the wrong way. So we'll just go up individual. Yes, go 2,500. And we'll do vertical speed, nose down. Let's do a soft 500 feet per minute. And bring back throttle so we don't stress the engine or anything. I'll keep an eye on that as we come down here. And there you go. Okay, so I just wanted to tell you we have new friends because it's later in the day in real life. We're just flying over the forest, a lake, look for some rivers on the coast. And that'll wrap up this leg, and then we'll do one more in this video. And then that'll be it. But again, getting ahead of myself here. Let's get some lights turned on, actually, not those. So that one I want. That one, I guess it's too late to see anything. Whatever. I will see you in a little bit. Alright, just an update that we are in the red in the RPMs. We are just about to turn left and go along the coast, providing the autopilot will pick up the next leg. Because even though it shows curvy stuff on the map, it's actually, you know, straight legs with waypoints. That's why we'll probably come out here and then go due south. Maybe. It'll work. Have trust in it. Anyway, we're about to reach the coastline, but the main reason why I wanted to break in here was to update that we're still coming down to 8,500 feet. Maybe we can come down even more. No, let's not, because then we won't see the airport very well. So we'll stay at 2,500. And I didn't notice a forest. I mean, there's some hills. There we're going to turn. And there's some rivers and everything. But I never did see this forest that it said look for, so not sure what it means there. But anyway, looking good. Other dude we were flying with ahead of us outran us, and the person behind us is paused. So we're all alone, which is okay. Maybe that's the forest. Maybe that's the forest right up along the coast. That has to be what it meant. So never mind, I spoke too soon. Alright, it's time to start looking for where we're going. And we have a new friend. Stanklin is at the airport, because that's probably the airport elevation. And there's our next thing of water right there. And we're headed just before the water. So if that's the water, we're going to be headed right in that area somewhere. I noticed on our map, it doesn't even show up as the airport. If we come out here into cursor mode, check this out. There is nothing here. But if you zoom in, you get a little green line. So that's what we're aiming for, is a little green line. Not that we really need the help. Shouldn't be too difficult, but it's out there somewhere. I just thought that was interesting. So the airplane is going to take us out to the water like it wanted to, and then we're going to look in that area. So we are kind of low for spotting an airport far away, so I'm going to let the computer take us a little bit. By computer, I mean autopilot and GPS. And we'll let the systems take us a little bit longer here. We are right there. There's an airplane. It's going to take us out over the water, I guess. And then we'll see about the airport itself. Looks like it's going to be a straight in approach. So once we get to this little horn sticking out or whatever, we'll look for an airport. And this altitude should be good. So just a little cut in. I was going to fly us in from here, but we do have a ways to go. So I'll give you another minute of sightseeing, and then we will land. I see it now. It's right there. Boom. Can't miss it. It's actually a lot closer than it looks. Maybe I'll give you 20 seconds of sightseeing. We'll see. Alright, so I still haven't spotted the airport. I guess it's just a big hot mess. Like, which one of these is a runway? So I see the area here, because if you look on the map, see how the river dips in, right? And then goes away. That's where it dips in and goes away. So it's in here somewhere. But I don't know where the runway is. Is it that thing? It must be that thing. Yeah. So it doesn't really line up with anything. There's that. There's this mess here. Maybe it'll make sense once we pull in a little closer. I don't know. Time to go autopilot. Time to fly a plane. I was going to start turning or something right then. And we'll slow down and buy ourselves some time. And let's see. Where are we going exactly? We have all of the land coming in, making a triangle, and then a space, and then another line. There's a space. Is that the other line? There's a big space here with chunk before it. Chunk before it. Must be that little strip right there. That's the only thing I can think of. So we'll keep our speed up a little bit. Start coming down a little bit. We're at 2,000 feet, which is kind of high if we look at the buildings below us. But I want to be able to see where I'm going, so we're keeping our altitude until the last minute. And everyone else who has joined us has signed off, apparently. Yeah, that's definitely right there. Okay, awesome. Good thing we had that picture, else I never would have spotted it, even though I didn't know the right area based on the map. Yeah, now it's super obvious. Alright, we're going to keep our speed about where it is for now. Until we get there, we'll keep our descent rate, which is kind of steep, but we had to spot it first. Anyway, looking good, looking good. Checking out more towns as we go, since it won't work to look around much more than this. Looking good. Man, my frame rates look weird, but we're at 47, so whatever. Something else is going on. Typical simulator stuff, I guess. Whoop, look what happens when you look around too much. Alright, let's start bringing the speed down a little bit here. Continue our descent. And now we're way off course because my 9-year-old was texting me and I didn't pause to text him back. Oh well, that's okay. Not terribly complicated. I think we're going to go full flaps on this one. We do have 3 sets, right? Yeah. And full flaps. So we can get very slow because we're coming in hot and we're going to need the distance to bleed off some speed here. Whoa, what's going on upstairs? Yeah, we saw a little bit of crosswind from the right. I think we're always going to have a crosswind from the right. Alright, here we go. Narrow runway, so I should be able to judge our height. I do have that problem where I think we're going to touch down and we don't, and then we drop 15 feet. Alright, here we go. Full flaps. We can tease that stall horn. Where's that stall horn? Where are ya? Come on. No stall horn, but that's okay. Get the rudders where we need them now, and nose wheel down gently. I'm letting it put itself down. And it's going down all on its own. There we go. Smooth as silk. Save the airplane. Yep, see that crosswind we had? And step on the brakes. And get credit for the leg. Alright, there we go. One more leg in this video. Here we go. Alright, repair and refuel first, although we don't need to quite yet. Let's just zoom this out so you can see where we're going. And what we are doing. Kilo Romeo. Let's see where it is on here. It's another half an hour leg or so. So it's going to be quite a ways down here. There it is. So it looks like we're going through some valleys here. Well, if the autopilot and GPS keep us on this track, we don't need that much altitude. Probably no more than 2 grand again, 3 grand. But it's probably going to put us over the hill, so you might have to climb. We have a long, excuse me, a long time to come down. So yeah, let's go about, let's start with about 6 grand on this one, which will take a while to climb, but that's okay. And let's do a nose up, although this started working last time and then it didn't totally work. We'll see how that goes later, see if that saves. We'll just have to see. Alright, let's read about where we're going and what we're doing here. Alright, Vlor, take off from the airstrip and head southeast, crossing over the eastern shore. You will find a road running parallel to the lake and you should follow it south to the outskirts of the city. Make your way east from Vlor and over the rise of the hills ahead. On the other side is a short run before you arrive at the banks. Follow the river as it runs south. Continue along the river toward a wide bridge in the distance. Was there a river? Oh yeah, it is a river that whole time. Okay. And then what? So river, easy. Bridge, we'll look for that. Past the bridge, the river will flow farther south before taking a turn. Okay. Carry on the river for a while. When it suddenly bends 90 degrees, look for the riverside village on the western bank. So it's going to turn 90 degrees sharply right there. And then we're going to look for a bank. Okay. Make your way south, you come to a fork. One branch leads you towards the mountains, but you should follow the branch that continues to the south. The river, I know, stop beeping at me. The river will continue south. In the distance, you'll find a valley and a large peak by that name. Break away from the river and adjust your heading to the western mountainside. Follow the natural contours of the valley till you reach the seaside village, and then there's the elongated bay of the Ionian Sea. Okay, so we will stop here with that part. So go through the mountains along a river, and then we're gonna leave the mountains and get to this area here, right? And that's where we'll resume with navigation. So if the GPS does not put us into a mountainside, we will be able to lower our altitude for some really cool sightseeing below terrain level. But the way this has been working, we'll probably end up in the side of a mountain. So you might have to raise this even, or just use the heading bug and do it ourselves, right? Either way, we have the GPS track down here. We can just use a heading bug to stay on track. We will decide how I'm feeling when we get there, because I could decide either way. Let's do 2 sets of flaps and let's take off, because we might run out of runway. Parking brake off. Everything is full force, ready to go. Come on, you can do it. And we are beginning leg 10 of this bush trip. And I'm curious to add up all my footage and see how long this is taking me. With all my interruptions that you don't have to notice. I could edit it out. This Nevada trip was supposed to be like 9 hours. It took us 13, I think. 1 set of flaps coming in. Step on the brakes to stop those wheels from spinning. 2nd set of flaps coming in. Level off a little bit to get some speed. And, good. Let's see if autopilot's stuck for us. Flight director, autopilot, heading at first. And then nav. It is going to work good, and then that stopped working. So vertical speed nose up. 500, let's do 500 feet per minute. And we'll keep an eye on this. Alrighty, up to 6,000. I don't want to go that high, but like I said, the GPS thing might make us in the side of a mountain. So I'll either stick with the GPS and climb if we need to, or use heading bug to follow this cute little thing here, and then we can go lower. We'll see how I feel. That is it. Are we climbing? Yep. I know Copilot. We know this stuff by now. That looks cool, doesn't it? I like how that looks. Very neat. And then, looking good on that side too. Alrighty, I think the Copilot is done talking to us. So, we can have some sightseeing time as we leave the city, and I'll see you probably when we get out of the mountains back to the water. It should be pretty obvious if I decided to climb with GPS or go lower with heading. I'm sure you'll be able to figure that out. I don't need to say anything. Oh no, the Copilot's not done. But as soon as he's done, we'll have some sightseeing. I'll see you in about half an hour or so. Alright, we're about to cross into the sea, and I was about to come down. I'm like, we'll just come down and ride the valley because here we were below terrain anyway. But as I see at the last minute, the computer, the GPS brought us right over this part, so we have to stay up nice and high. So I don't mind, we'll come down soon. We have plenty of time to come down from 7,000 feet. More than enough time to come down from 7,000 feet. So let's see here. What do we have going on next? We read up until here, so we're just going to follow this around. We can probably stay, well, we can stay nice and low if we stay on the water. Is that where we're going? Kilo Romeo? Yeah. So if we stay on the water, we can stay nice and low. Only we got to climb again. I guess we can come down from 7,000 feet here. So maybe we'll just stay up here, I guess. I was going to come down nice and low. But nope, we'll stay. Then we'll come down here. So that's what it looks like on the map. What does it look like over here? Should be exactly the same thing. Yep. Obviously. But just double checking, just to familiarize ourselves. Alrighty, let's keep reading as we almost get to the water here. Track along the shoreline, heading southeast towards a mountain promontory known. Promontory? Is that another word I have to look up? Is that a real word? Or is it supposed to be predominantly? Promontory known as that word. Okay. Skirting around Promontory, make your way south to another coastal town, Surrand. Okay. And adjust your heading southwest, across from a strait toward the stunning beaches of Corfu, northernmost of the Ionian Islands, which I'll look up on Google Maps later. Alright, so we're going to go across the strait. That's what this is talking about here. Right, we're going to go across the strait here towards that land. And then follow the island coastline southwest, make your way past rural coastal towns. Eventually you'll arrive at Ipsos, I'm sure that's a capital I, by Ipsos Bay at the foot of Mount Pantocrator, Corfu's highest peak. Okay, and then adjust southwest and you'll see the runway. So that is our instructions. So nothing really significant in terms of landmarks or anything. It's just going across the bay, going across the strait, going at the foot of this apparently huge mountain, relatively speaking, and then we'll descend quickly and look for a pretty good sized airport. I'm sure we can't miss it. It's right along the water. Right along the water. Okay, easy enough. That's all I really had to say was the next section of our trip, which is from there to there. So we'll do a bunch of sightseeing. We'll make sure we take a good look at some water in this mountainous area. Then we'll come down together and land. And that'll be it. So, time for some sightseeing one more time, and I'll catch you in a little bit. Alright, it looks like the GPS actually followed the track really well and kept us away from some mountains. So we are going around this peak, and then we should see the airport right in there. I think it's partially obscured right now. I don't even know if it shows up on here. Oh, it does. It's just obscured. So Well, let's not go that much though. Let's do heading bug right now. There we go, so that we can keep coming down. I already started our descent during the sightseeing. Alright, the runway has been spotted right there. It looks just like the picture. So time to hand fly this in, just because we can. We've done a lot of autopilot stuff. So let's start coming in like this. And throw us back a little bit to start descending. Have 4,000 feet to come down. We know where we are, but let's not be too low when we reach the shoreline, because we don't want to lose sight of the airport. But anyway, everything looked good. That straight looked great. Use heading bug to get around this mountain peak, which is kind of flat on top. And there are roads up there. I bet the view is amazing, because you get to be on top of it and look around. Wow, I can only imagine. Alright, but this is as real as it gets for us. Wasn't that a Flight Simulator motto or slogan or whatever before, as real as it gets, something like that? I can't really remember. Alright, throttles back even more. Trying to crane our neck here. I think we have Pappy and it's all white, which I would expect from this altitude. Because we were actually a lot closer than it looks. Usually we're farther than it looks, but we are a lot closer than it looks. We're going to descend rapidly here. We also have to bleed off all that speed too. But I think we'll be okay. I think we will be just fine. Just fine. I'm tempted to get track IR still to look around, but because I move my head so much to like do all the keyword stuff, my head would be going up and down. Like for a view, I would be looking down. I guess I will look down and bring my head in instead of doing something like that. I'll just look down and do it. I don't know. And with a microphone, I might bonk my microphone with my head looking around. Who knows? Haven't decided. Stop looking out the windows. Jeez, you're trying to land a plane at a fast approach and high approach. Do not be looking out those windows, as gorgeous as it is. Alright, let's nose up to slow down a little bit. There's one red on the Pappy. There's two red on the Pappy. Throttles to keep it from descending so much. Nose up so we don't speed up. There we go. Nice, slow, long approach. Just as I planned. Coming over the shoreline, a little throttle here so we don't descend any steeper than we are, because we've got 3 red. And what are we at here? 450. Let's soften that up a little bit till we're back to 2 and 2. And then there we go. Let's slow down by nosing up a little bit. And first set of flaps. And getting distracted. Holy cow. And be careful. Second set of flaps. Relying on the Pappy because of the terrain around us. If we look around, it's hard to judge our height. Throttles to keep us from sinking too much. Very long threshold on this one. So if you've been enjoying the bush trip videos so far, you must be if you keep coming back and watching. I greatly appreciate it. We'll start our intro or outro now. So if you're already a subscriber, thank you for taking support. If you found back, please like, please subscribe, please share with your friends. Like, subscribe, leave a comment to play the YouTube algorithm game. And we can keep this thing moving forward here. So let's land this plane softly and get our credit, and then that'll be our outro. Nice and soft. Just touch the ground. There we go, and it's saving. Excellent. Probably our best landing so far. Centered and everything. Nose wheel down gently. Slam on those brakes. Flaps coming in. And we'll get our credit. It's saving, and there it is. Only took a few minutes longer than it should have. So there you go. Already did my outro. And we'll see you in part 4 for Leg 11, 12, and 13 next time.